everyone, welcome to another episode of Celtic Mick Travels. Today I'm going to compare what it's like to go on a budget and travel to the three Baltic countries. So I spent a couple of nights in both of them, all three of them actually, and I'm going to give you my honest opinion on what my experiences were and what is value for money for a budget traveler in the three countries. The three countries obviously I went to Lithuania, then Latvia, and then Estonia. Spent a couple of nights in each one. So the first one was in Vilnius, then Riga, and then the last one was Tallinn. Now, obviously, I did a little excursion into Belarus. So if you watch those videos, I spent a couple of nights in Belarus, and at the end of the trip, I spent 3 nights in Finland. But today we're going to focus on primarily is the three Baltic countries, and we're going to look at different experiences on the value for money, the cheapness of that, the food, the nightlife, the things to do when you're traveling there, like the old towns, because each three of those cities have nice old town features, and then an overall appearance on how it is. So obviously I'm in the sunny southeast in Wexford again. I got some stuff coming up. I have a recap on, right now I'm rehabilitating my injury. Well, it wasn't an injury, it was I had to take care of some, it's called a dupuytren's contracture I had. So basically my hand was curving up my little finger, so they had to do an operation on that. I have an old video coming up, so you'll see that, what that's about. So I'm off work for 2 months while I rehabilitate, I can't really move my finger that much, so I have to do some physio on that. Today I'm just taking the time to walk around in beautiful Wexford. I'm taking a bus to my computer guy in Castle Bridge. For those of you who watch the Finland vlog, I dropped my hard drive and I got the clicking sound of death. So I'm hoping to see if he can revive that. If not, well, chalk it up to experience. So we're going to talk about all the different features. First off, we're going to talk about Vilnius. Okay, just got off the old bus, €3 in. He said to give change. Last time I took it, they didn't, so we'll see. So first off, we'll talk about Vilnius and my overall impression for the cost. I found the cost, out of the three Baltic countries, the most affordable. We're talking about the price of food, coffee, accommodation, and public transport. They were all very good. I'll put up in the screen right now what the accommodation looked like and what you got for the value of it. The public transport and how that worked out. And we also show you a couple of the food places. The first place I went to, I was a little adventurous, too adventurous. But then I was redeemed by the coffee shop I found the next day. And then followed up after the coffee shop, we had a beautiful meal that my friend Jeff Hascona suggested. And it was in like a cavern down below and very affordable, very good value for money. You want to talk about the people in that. I met lovely people during my time in Lithuania, especially highlighted with the Three Crosses viewpoint. I had a good conversation with this couple here. They were really, really friendly and welcoming to Vilnius. Even when I mentioned I was going to Belarus the following day. Nightlife, I didn't really go out on the nightlife in Vilnius as much, but the accommodation for the beers and that is affordable and not too bad. And the public transport was very good and easy to use. You just had to tap your thing, your little card, and away you go. So on the whole for Vilnius, my experience with the time there, I would give it a 7.5 out of 10. Very affordable, good for view. The old town was really nice as well and easy to get around and a lot of walking. Plus I used the Bolt a few times, which is like the Uber taxi and that. Now it brings us to our trip to Riga in Latvia. Okay, change the angle of the camera, see how that goes. Now we're trying to talk about Riga and Latvia. Now we made it in through Riga from my trip to Belarus. So I spent probably not as long as I did the other two countries, but my impressions were that it was an affordable-ish country, a little bit more expensive than Lithuania, but Latvia had a lot of different charms to it, especially the nightlife. I have to rate the highest grade for nightlife goes to Riga. It looked like a town, or a city rather, that you would spend like a hen party or a stag or that. A lot of bars, a lot of places to eat. So the food and that was all very easy to get to. The old town was nice. I have to downgrade my marks on the old castle because it didn't even really look that old. Let me know what your opinion is of the castle in Riga. Wasn't my highest highlight, I'd say. The people were very friendly, especially the bar staff working around. You know, if you go into Riga, you have to go to the Armory bar. There was tons of Irish bars, which I didn't understand. All three of the cities, they were big on the old Irish pubs. But Riga had a fair amount. I was also struggling from a little bit of a cold during that time, so you have to weigh that into my factor. But it was affordable. The accommodation was not too bad. However, it was on the 5th floor at the hostel in my private room. So that does affect it to what I would grade it. The people were friendly. The food was plentiful. And like I said, Riga is just a little bit higher up in the price scale compared to Lithuania. But overall, value for money. And it's an easy way to get to. I used the Flexbus. I didn't take much public transport around, and the old town is a nice, easy walkie. Very easy to get around and walk through it. So, but on grading it out of 10, Riga, I would have to give it a 6 out of 10. Let me know in the comments what you think. And now I'm going to move on to the third country. Okay, now it brings us to our third country. Third country that we visited out of the Baltic was Estonia and Tallinn. I have to admit, it has some charm to Tallinn, although the cost of living for a budget traveler is a little bit higher than the previous two. But if you want to have a one-off to go experience a whole bunch of different cultures and get a bang for your buck, Tallinn's not too bad. So the cost is a little bit higher than the previous two, but there is gems to be found. I stayed at a decent hotel, not too far from the town, but what it did have was very easy to use tram system and public transport. So I really had an ease getting in and out of the old town. So the public transport was very handy and for anyone to use. So that was a plus mark for me. Food was very good as far as the choice, and it was more of a theater show. I went to two of the medieval experiences. The first one was more of a budget one. It only cost me about 30. And the second one, that was a doozy. That one, you can see here, cost me, with the tip and everything and the service charge, 90 euros. And that was only a main course and a glass of red wine. Ouch. But it was cooked in the medieval style. They were all wearing medieval dress, and they even had medieval costumes and that going around. So that was very good. The people were very friendly. I liked the walking around, seeing the different types of buildings, because they had a lot of wooden clad buildings and very old buildings too. Like we're talking buildings that are, 150 years old, 200 years old with wood facades. So I thought that was really nice. The food was good. Coffee was very good as well. I had a coffee near the square. Now, if I had to pick a place out of the old 3 coffees, which are best, wait to the end and I'll recap the coffee. Because coffee is always an important factor when you're traveling around. So, we got the affordability. Let me just check my list. I didn't miss anything. The nightlife. There's a lot of nightlife there, which is very good. I tried this little dodgy Irish bar, which was very affordable, $4.50 for a pint, and it was a nice local pint. But the people were a bit odd, to be fair. It was early in the day, and they were pretty full. Anyways, they were all tourists, so it wasn't local, but anyways, they too had an Irish pub, which I had to go experience, just to see what it's like, as you do. Okay, let's talk about the old town in Tallinn. I would have to give the old town a higher grade out of the 3 because it was really neat. I even took this walk up the wall that you could see the whole town of Tallinn from this wall. Only cost €4. We can walk around to see the sights through the town. We even passed the Russian embassy, which is located in the center of the old town, which is a bit odd. That was security up with the police and that. And then there was an old hotel overlooking the old town, which was really nice as well. So on the whole, Tallinn, I would give that a 7 out of 10. So for the recap the 3, the affordability would go to Vilnius, the first one. The people, I'd have to nod it to Vilnius as well. That was just my experience. The nightlife, Riga gets that. Tallinn wins the old town and the public transport. Let me know in the comments what you feel about my assessment of the 3 Baltic countries and my grades. Like I said, everyone has a different, it was just my experience. Riga was negatively affected because of my cold I had. But to me, I would highly recommend all 3, especially if you're going there as a 3 to 4 day trip to spend and experience it. They're all worth your while. There is budget deals to be had, so it's not that hard. And highly recommend it. FlexBus is a good way to get around between the countries as well. So I don't know which order this video is going to be, whether I'm going to put it at the end of Tallinn before the Helsinki Finland one, or maybe at the end of it, probably at the end, before I tell you about my operation and the ordeal I had to go through for that. Stay tuned for that. That'll be coming up. And then I have something special planned in July. Heading to somewhere within Ireland around the 12th of July. Let me know if you know what that might be. So signing off for now. Hope you enjoyed the short little fun video on comparing what I went through in my Baltic experiences and let you know which country and which capital city would you prefer. Signing off for Celtic Mick Travels.